Hey guys, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So I'm doing a reading vlog, yeah. I'm squeezing one in. And it's because this book I just want to talk about in a reading vlog. And this is a nonfiction. It is also a classic written in the 1800s. And it's called The Wonderful Adventures of Mrs. Sequel in Many Lands. Now this is a Jamaican nurse that through her life at one point she was living in various parts in the world, and she's talking about the experience of treating people with illness as well as the social things that were happening in terms of race and women's role back then. It's very interesting. She do tell you from the get-go she's Jamaican. She's talking about back and forth going from Panama in the beginning to Jamaica. This is where I'm at now. I mean, she is going to be going to other places, but the stories of Panama back then was very interesting, and the whole melting pot of Panama at the time, where people from different walks of life was there. You also had a lot of runaway slaves were there at the time. You also have a strong presence of the Caribbean as well as Americans there at the time, and the experience that she's talking about and how their customs and how they believe and how they act. There's a bit of prejudice in terms of racial prejudice, but there's also a thing of cultural prejudice that was going on at the time. She's funny. She is funny because she come off as like them Jamaican one that is stush, and she's stush but she's still down to earth at the same time. Yeah, that's how she'll come off to me right now. I'm enjoying this. I'll definitely give you more rundown throughout this video as I read along, but yeah, I'm feeling her. Hey guys, so it is Thursday and I am hoping to see who won. So I've been avoiding for the last hour any social media. So let me look to see who won the Booker prize. Yes, Sugar Bane won. Sugar Bane won. Yeah, one of my favorites. I had two favorites and this one won. So yay. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm happy. I am happy. I am extremely happy. Yes. Yes. Okay, so we're going to end this vlog by talking about the wonderful adventures of Mrs. Sequel in Many Lands. Now, this is an autobiography, but it's not an autobiography in terms of all her life. It is how it started on, she was pretty much in her 30s, in that era, the early 1800s, well, the 1850s, it was considered, she's old. So with that said, she is traveling to different lands in terms of outside of Jamaica. She's in Panama, and she's in that period of time where there were a lot of people in and out of Panama from different areas. So she's meeting people from Europe, but she's also meeting Americans and other people from the Caribbean as well. And it's a series of things that's happening. We're talking other illness that was happening at the time, and she was like a real good instrument in that, where she was such a person who loved taking care of people. She had these remedies that she would do, but she's also would listen and hold their hands and in their needs. So she became that mother, and a lot of times you hear them call her mother. Because of how she would care for the patients. Then when she got to in UK, and it was the what is the war again that was called? Crimea War, where it's a war that I didn't know a lot of, to be honest. So when I was reading about this, it was very interesting to know that that people were, there was a lot of fighting going on there, and what you expect in war, you expect casualty, you expect soldiers being hurt. And she was in a hotel or a living kind of situation where she was taking care of a lot of the soldiers. And again, the same attitude they had towards her in Panama, they had towards her there. Now, when I'm reading this, she's writing it in a way where she wants to get herself correct. She wants you to get the idea of herself as best as she could, because a lot of the things she don't even herself realize the significance she had, because a lot of the stuff that she mentioned in some of the cases were letters from soldiers who thanked her, who told the world what she did for them. And so she's not realizing how important she was. She was just doing something that she enjoyed doing, in terms of making people go back, become healthy and nurturing people. That's just her personality. Now, in this, there are bits and pieces of where she talks about her being Creole. In a Jamaican sense. It just meant back then is you were interracial, meaning I believe her father was a white, a Scottish guy, and her mother was black. So, and our mother was also mixed. So that's where that comes in. But she doesn't talk a lot about pre that era, because when the story started off, she was an early widow. She became a widow very early on, and she never talked about life after. There's no talk of relationship or anything like that. It was just her life was medicine. Her life was taking care of the sick. Now, the forward in this was a bit shady. Like, it gave me impression of like Florence Nightingale wasn't a big fan of hers. And you can tell, because there's a moment where she talks about when she wanted to go to the UK during that era to help out, and was refused a few times before she actually was able to go over there. And there's a bit, I guess, in some kind of document written where she didn't have kind things to say about, like, she gave the impression that like Miss Sequel was some party animal, which is not the case. She was just more considerate. So if guys were outside of this establishment doing what they want to do, she didn't care, as long as they weren't doing it in the actual facility that she was working in. That part to me was like, I don't know. I think the person who did the forward just came off very. She kind of gave me, like, I had a side eye a couple of times. There's like this whole idea, oh, she didn't talk much about her childhood. This is not about her childhood. This is about her adventures in other land. It said that in many lands. This is what it was about. It wasn't about her entire life story. This was her time international as a nurse. That's what this story was about, and that's what it should be focusing on, and not the other gibberish. And I kind of feel like I wish I didn't read the forward, because that person just irritated me with that. I like her personality. She's feisty. Yes, she's Jamaican and she's feisty. Yes, she would tell you about your business. So I like that personality that she has, and I like that she loved what she did. She loved medicine. She loved it from an early on age, and she got inspiration from her mom, and she was able to experiment. And in this, she admit when she didn't didn't quite get it right in you know, treating certain people. And then back then also, she had a hell of a lot of responsibility compared to nurses now, because there's so much protocol now. There's so many things that she was able to experiment and do that worked that she wouldn't be able to do now in modern times. So she is a pioneer in terms of things that she was able to expose to, and she should get some recognition. And that Florence Nightingale woman, yeah, I need to read that, because she just rubbed me the wrong way in this book. So we'll see what kind of woman she really was. But yeah, and I like the picture that they showed here. I don't know why, it just reminded me of like a family member, the portrait. But she was a good read. She was a good read, and I like the back and forth. And it did, again, this is one of those journal style autobiography, I guess you would say, a portion of her life. I like the journal style entry in this. It just felt like, oh, this is what happened here. Oh yeah, this day was so, you know, like you get the days that matters. That's what you get in this. So I do recommend this. This was a nice read. So yeah. And I'm going to end this here. This vlog was a little hard, guys, because I'm trying to do NaNoWriMo and then do this at the same time. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm good for the day, because, you know, I'm so happy that it won. So yeah. So yeah. Let me do my little thumbnail. Alright guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.